Welcome to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by thesoberclub.com. I'm Jenny Grace. This is for you if you've quit the booze or you'd like to, or maybe you're just sober curious. I'll bring you tips and motivation without any judgment, and there'll be inspiration from experts, quit-lit authors, and sober heroes. Hi, and welcome to the podcast. I hope you've had a good week, and it was nice to do our webinar last night. Did a webinar on explore a career as a sober coach, or all about turning your sobriety into a new purpose. Good to see a couple of people who I think are podcast listeners on that webinar. It's really nice to be in a space with people who are enthusiastic about sobriety, even though we're online, of course. At one point, I did ask a few people to jot in the chat what sobriety had given them, you know, what it meant to them. And God, I wish I should have kept that chat, because it read like poetry. It was just amazing. People saying, you know, a sense of ease, resilience, freedom, so much more clarity, sense of peace and appreciation for myself that I didn't have before, wanting a new purpose. It's just all these amazing things that people express when they focus on how great it is when they've finally quit the booze. So if you're new to this podcast, by the way, I do get very excited about the whole idea of choosing to quit alcohol and knowing that life is better without. It's very special. Anyway, if you wanted to attend the webinar but you missed it, if you are sober, if you've been sober for a while, and you've thought, you know, I'd love a new purpose, then drop me a message or an email, because there's a week to go before there's a price rise. So, you know, you may as well jump in and check out our Sober Coach Training, Secure Your Place. It's very comprehensive. I appreciate this is not for everyone, because there'll be lots of you listening and thinking, I don't know what the hell she's on about. I've only been sober a few days, or I'm still thinking about it. That's okay. It's just that we've got a whole bunch of people listening who have been sober for a while. So you know what to do. Drop me a message, follow me on social media at Jenny Lee Grace, or if you go to thesoberclub.com, there's lots of ways to contact me there. And I look forward to hearing from you, and hopefully welcoming some of you on our next Sober Coach Training, which kicks off in October. Be great to have you involved. I really wanted to mention that I've seen lots of posts about Latitude, and of course, this time last year, I was part of the panel at the Latitude Festival talking about sobriety. So I figured no better time than to just rerun a little clip from that from last year, when I got to catch up with Richard from Alcohol Change. So it's a really short clip, and it is from last year. So if Richard says anything that's date related, that's because I'm just clipping that piece from last year. And then as I found that clip from Richard, I realized that I'd also, on the same show, played a clip of an interview I did with Lucy Spraggan. It was actually on one of my radio shows that I got to chat to Lucy Spraggan. So I thought, well, why not let you hear that again as well? So you got a little bit of a respin this week with a couple of short interviews. Just before we go into that, just a quick word about summer. You know, we're in it, right? And it's hot sometimes, unusually for the UK. And I'm so aware that this is a trigger for so many people, just the sunshine. And, you know, if you are going off to festivals, I totally get that there's so many associations wrapped up with packing your stuff for going out for a day or going to a festival. You know, you pack your tent and you this and you that and your sun cream and then, you know, you pack a crate of beer or whatever. It's what we do, and it can be so disconcerting. You know, I really know how that feels when you're in the early weeks of quitting alcohol. It just feels as though you're going against the tide, because everyone else is packing their cold beers and constantly talking about the alcohol, but you're not. And I get that completely. And it was really interesting. It's been so interesting for me, because you've heard me say so many times that when I did my first year, and I went through all of the stuff you have to go through in year one. And for me, it was very raw and emotional. And I didn't necessarily do it the way I now recommend. Now, as a coach, I can work with people, and I hope that I can help them make that transition into that new identity with so much more ease than I had it, because I forgot everything I knew. I literally forgot all the nutritional pieces, the supplements. I didn't do the proper mindset work. I was absolutely hopeless at the start. In a way, I'm glad now. I think it's probably made me a better coach. But my first year was tough. It really was. Certainly the first few months were really tricky for me. I didn't quite know who I was. I definitely hadn't embraced this new identity. I was just a bit confused as to, where I fitted in any social situation. And I definitely found it really tough. And as I got to the end of the first year, I remember thinking, oh, I wonder if that's it. If that's, I'm always if it's going to feel more flat. But of course, you will have heard me say that it gets better every year. I mean, every single year it gets better. I can honestly say that. And it was fascinating for me. The other night, I went to a private screening of the 10 Days in China, the Wham film. By the way, it's fantastic. I mean, honestly, it is such a great film. I'm not just saying that because I'm in it, although, oh my God, it is weird. It is weird seeing yourself on screen. Obviously, I've seen myself on screen loads of times in bands, singing, of course. But in this film, you get to see me a little bit kind of interacting with the band. So not on stage, just as me. I mean, it's weird. Obviously, clearly if you're an actor or a model, you're used to it. But yeah, I found it very surreal seeing myself in my early 20s. I kind of immortalized. It was very odd. It's a great film. It's honestly a great film. So please go and see it, won't you? Let me know what you think of it. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I don't think it's just because I was in China that I loved the film. I think it's genuinely incredibly well done. It really is. Anyway, so I was invited to a private screening, and because obviously I was with people who were, I'd known many years ago, it was just really interesting that this all those thoughts kind of came back. I thought, oh my goodness, I'm walking into this sort of hotel screening room bar here, and there was literally wine and beer on offer. Obviously you could ask for a soft drink, but there was just wine and beer. And I remember thinking, I would have been absolutely, I would have been caning it. I'd have been into glass three before the screening even started, and then afterwards, a few of us went to a really nice bar, and the people that I was with ordered some really expensive wine, which came looking all pretty in a big glass. And the overriding feeling I had that evening, there was not, I can honestly tell you, there was not the slightest drop of desire, not one drop of desire to drink alcohol. It was absolutely incredible. I slightly shocked myself actually, because I mean, I've been to millions of functions obviously over the last 8.5 years since I've been sober. It certainly wasn't the first function, and I'm not saying I've had cravings before, but it was because this event was so linked to my past when I would have been drinking, and so linked to old memories, and so kind of celebratory, that I suppose that if you'd asked me, I suppose I might have said, yeah, I wonder whether I might get a little twinge of, oh, wouldn't it be nice? But I really didn't. It was amazing. All I could feel was a sense of absolute gratitude that I'm free from that, remembering how it would have been all those years ago, and how it would have been had I not quit, and just that sense of total gratitude. So honestly, if you'd told me that 9 years ago, I wouldn't have believed you. So, so there you go. I am proof that you can literally be free from the alcohol trap, have no desire whatsoever to drink toxic liquid. It's pretty cool, right? So I really hope you enjoy these little respins of these interviews. Let me think, what else do I want to share with you? I've got a few things coming up, but we don't have actual dates set yet. So I'm going to have to do that a little bit later down the line. Oh, just one more thing to share with you, that if you've been thinking about joining us in the Sober Club, it's really low cost. It's really high value. It's very much focused on well-being, and we have people who are on day one and people who've been sober for absolutely years as part of the Sober Club. We've got an online course as part of it, Get the Buzz Without the Booze. We've got everything you can think of to do with mindset and well-being, and everything in between. So it's a really kind of comprehensive well-being platform, if you like, with amazing connections, so you get other people to cheerlead you on. And if you can join, if you want to join us for a year, if you do that before the end of July, you will save a ton of money. There's a special pricing there, so check it out anyway if it's your thing, thesoberclub.com. And I'm going to say it now because I usually say it at the end of the podcast, but you know what, I'll switch it up and I'll say it now. If you are early days, then I strongly recommend that you tell someone you're doing this. You might not want to join the Sober Club, but don't just hole up. Reach out, tell someone who's been there, done it, got the t-shirt, and you're very welcome to tell me. If I get your message, I'll reply. Can't say fairer than that, right? At Janie Grace across social media. Give me a follow, or find me via thesoberclub.com. So hopping over to Latitude this time last year. As you know, I'm always talking about alcohol change, but I thought it would be really great to let Richard share a little bit about the charity. So Richard from Alcohol Change, we get to meet each other again after so many years.
Yes,
so nice to be on nice to be on a panel with you. So Alcohol Change UK, I mean, I've mentioned you probably every single podcast actually, pretty much. So just in case there is somebody who's not completely aware of what you do. I know you're very good at summing it up in a couple of sentences, so just remind us exactly what you do.
So we're the charity in the UK that exists to end alcohol harm, and we want to do that kind of without ending the fun. We believe in fun, and we don't believe in kind of setting like rules and judgment. It's all about engaging in the science and well-being and human compassion that makes change happen. Essentially, we want to make 5 big changes happen. The first one is knowledge. Alcohol is stuffed with opinion, and that's where you need knowledge, you need research, so we do that. Secondly, influencing government. It's really important that we all blame ourselves a lot when we're drinking too much, and we've heard at today's panel members of the audience talk about shame and feeling shame, and one of the reasons for that shame is we're all blaming individuals, when actually the society we live in is fundamentally alcohol-centric. So alcohol is at the centre of our society, it's the centre of our socialising, and it's marketed as in like incredibly mad ways. You can't even get it off your phone. And when we take that for granted, so those are the kind of things that we're trying to change. Thirdly, cultural shift. So there's something called sober shaming, which is where you interrogate people why they're not drinking. We want that to stop, and we want to end the shame. So trying to make cultural changes. And then fourthly, behaviour change. So behaviour change, particularly for people who are not yet at the point where they're dependent on alcohol, but they can feel themselves getting there. It's so much cheaper and healthier and happier for people to intervene at
before
that
the
point.
horse is bolted.
Before
Absolutely.
the horse is bolted. So that's what we're all about. Our Try Dry program is all about that, completely free. And our Dry January Challenge is a part of that program. And then the final piece of our work is with the most severely chronic drinkers. We provide some specialist services as well around
right that. So do you, in terms of funding, I know that's I'm guessing that's the biggest challenge with anything that's a charity, but it must be a bit frustrating because so much of what goes on, when we read all these studies about alcohol or whatever, they're funded by the alcohol companies in many cases. So do you have any access to any funding, that actually supports what you do, that comes from high places, or is that not going to happen?
We do receive some funding from the Welsh Government, which we're very grateful for. The Welsh Government has supported Alcohol Change UK's work in Wales for many years, and we like to think we give them a great deal back as well. We've supported them with minimum unit pricing, we've supported them with research, with community work across Wales, so we think they get a great deal as well out of that. The majority of our funding comes from members of the public. Again, so many people think that they're the only person experiencing alcohol harm, and when you find out there's 10 million of them experiencing alcohol harm, and that's just the people who are the drinkers, then there's all the people around them you realise how many people actually want to get engaged. So we're very, very lucky that we have lots of generous supporters, but we need more.
Do more. So just give us your website. How can people get involved?
www.alcoholchange.org.uk. All our resources are free, and if you want any information, we've got research, we've got information on our policy work, blogs, tips, science, all the information really you need to cut back or to help someone near you cut back, or if you just want to give and you want to run for us and make a difference that way, whatever reason alcohol's affected your life, we'd love to welcome you.
Brilliant. Richard Piper, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Janie.
So after the festival, I wrote a blog post for Substack about rocking festivals sober. And the tips, the kind of headline of the tips really are, well, the tips we would share for any event, really. It's prep ahead. It really is. Number one, if you don't feel ready to go off doing social stuff, if you're in the early stages of ditching the booze and actually just want to hole up, then hole up. It's perfectly okay. But make sure you don't become a martyr. I said this to one of my clients because she's only a few days into sobriety, so it's very, very early days, and feels very nervous about socializing. Understandably, it can feel really odd to start with, but she was thinking of potentially blowing out an event that she'd really wanted to go to for a long time. So a concert that she really wanted to be at. And what I had to kind of remind her was that everyone has to make their own decision. It has to feel right for you. But if you do decide to stay home, if you decide not to go because of your sobriety, then you need to be really happy with that decision and put something else in place that feels good. Focus on self-care. Because if you actually stay at home like a martyr, feeling sorry for yourself and, kind of wishing you were somewhere else and drinking and doing other stuff, then that's just terrible for your unconscious mind. It really is, because you start to feel deprived and as though you're giving something up, and it's really not a good focus. So far better to decide, okay, am I definitely comfortable with staying away and focusing on having a lovely evening at home? That's fine. Or is it that I really want to go to this? It's just that I feel a bit wobbly. And if it's the latter, just put that prep in place. Give someone a heads up. So tell the people you're going that you're not drinking. That's important. And let's face it, that could be for any reason. And as we've said so many times before, you're very welcome to fib. So, tell them you're on antibiotics or whatever if you want to, or just tell them it makes you feel much less anxious. Who's going to, which great friend is going to argue with that, right? So give them a heads up and then prep ahead. It's the prepping. It's all in the prep. It really is. So find out whether there's going to be any bars there or whatever that have alcohol-free drinks. There often is. There was a low and no festival at bar at Latitude, which was great to see. Don't get me wrong, there are an awful lot of bars with very long queues selling alcohol, but there was a low no bar. So find out if there's going to be anything there. And I would say, even if there is, take your own, particularly if you're going to be camping or staying over, take your own alcohol-free drinks. Just find a way of taking plenty of the drinks that you like. Get yourself a nice glass, or even if it's a plastic wine glass, whatever. Just make sure that you make it workable for yourself. So you're not standing in the middle of a field, or a festival, with the queues all around you, the sun shining, all of the triggers screaming, go and get a drink. That's what you want to avoid. You want to feel, okay, actually, I'm the lucky one here. And yeah, I can pop back to my tent and I've got a cool bag with some alcohol-free naughty fizz in it or whatever. And that's going to feel like a treat for me. So just remember, keep the ritual, change the ingredients, but do plan ahead. Also, it's a really nice idea to plan something for the next day. So while everyone else is hungover, you book yourself onto the early morning yoga or the meditation, or just plan to go for a walk. And also, make sure you're connected. This is where staying connected makes such a difference. In the Sober Club, we've got our little private community. People can just pop up and share how they're feeling, and there'll always be someone who can offer that cheerleading. So they're really basic tips. I know you've heard them before, but it is all about prepping ahead, letting people know what you're doing, playing that tape forward, throwing it forward to the next day. Visualize yourself having a great time, feeling fantastic, and you will be so proud of yourself. You really will, compared to what would happen if you just give in, with that ridiculous notion of, oh, I'll just have one. No, you won't. And even if you did, why would you want one? Why would you want any? Right? So put that prep in. And honestly, when you do, festivals they're just great fun sober. And then moving away from festivals just for a sec, apropos to possibly nothing, but I got a chance to chat to Lucy Spraggan, the fabulous Lucy Spraggan. I've been trying to get her on the podcast for absolutely ages. Haven't managed that, but I did get just a tiny clip, and I thought I'd share it with you. Tell us a bit about the collaboration with Robbie on the track Sober. As somebody who is 7.5 years sober myself, you can imagine how much I love that.
Oh, congratulations. Well, I wrote Sober in the first week that I decided to get sober, and I'm just behind you at 6 years now.
Brilliant.
And I, wrote that song and released it in 2021, and then further down the line, I supported Robbie at Sandringham, and he got the opportunity to hear the song, and he said that I want to be a part of this because he's a huge sober icon as well. Yeah. It is amazing how, as you say, you must have an incredible response when you do release things that are so personal. I just think music is one of the best outlets to say exactly how you feel, and when you do that, when you do it with authenticity, when it's genuine, people always, some people will find relatability in it, and that's my main goal in this life, is relatability. Yeah. What about for you? Are there any particular artists or albums that have inspired you or inspired the new chapter of the work that you're doing? I think I still listen to the same albums as I did when I was younger. I'm still just fanatical about Fleetwood Mac. I love Elvis. I'm still very, very old school in that way, but somebody who I adore at the moment is Lola Young. Me too. I love that stuff. Yeah, she is doing something different to everybody, and I adore that. If by some chance you haven't heard Lucy's track and the collaboration with Robbie, then do check it out. It's great. I absolutely love the work that she's doing. So just a reminder, if you missed our Turn Your Sobriety to Purpose webinar, but you would like a replay or would like a chat about Sober Coach Training, drop me a message. Now is a good time. Don't forget the Sober Club if you're early days, and whatever you're doing, just make sure you tell someone else if you want a bit of support. Really makes all the difference. We're meant to be connected, right? I will see you same time next week. Have yourself a great week. Thank you for listening to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by the Sober Club. Please rate and review. And if you want support, accountability and inspiration, and you want to live your best life without the booze, check out thesoberclub.com.